Welcome to Her Story Beyond the Sale, the podcast that celebrates the incredible journeys of women in network marketing. I'm your host, Lori Hart, and I'm here to share the empowering stories of women who have risen in this dynamic field. Whether you're taking your first step or scaling new heights, this is your space to learn, grow, and be inspired. Join us as we explore the paths to financial freedom, the joy of working from the comfort of your home, and the power of breaking through barriers. Together, we'll discover how network marketing is more. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us in another episode of Her Story Beyond the Sale. I'm so excited to bring to you today my friend Christina. Christina is my girl crush right now. I will tell you that. She's doing all the things that I really want to do in my life. Christina Whitely is an absolutely amazing mom. I'm going to let her, you know how I let them tell their story, because their story is different coming from them than it is me. But she is the most amazing, inspiring woman. Like I said, my current girl crush, love everything that she's doing, everything about her. And I'm not going to use the word jealous, because that is not a serving word, but I'm going to use the word, I'm excited for her and the life that she's created. And you will hear why if you know me. So, Christina, thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Lori. The feeling is mutual. Okay. I have the same feelings towards you. I feel so grateful that we've been put in touch. And, you know, I used to be that way. I used to be really jealous of other people's lives until I realized that I was capable of creating it myself and became inspired by them and started asking better questions. So I'm really excited to be here today. I'm excited to share my story and hopefully it inspires somebody to do something different in their lives because they know that they're capable of more.
Absolutely. One thing I don't know if you know that we have in common, but we both came from the background of hairdressing. I did it for 30 years.
Wow.
Back-breaking work. You got out of it a little
It
bit
is.
sooner, which is great. But tell us a little bit about yourself. So obviously, first of all, wait till you hear her story. She's a brand new mom of her. So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you live, a little bit about your home life, and then we'll talk a little bit more about network marketing after.
Sure. Yeah. And I love that you're highlighting network marketing because it's why I'm here. It's why I've been able to live this kind of life. And I think that we don't give it enough credit. I think there's a lot of stigma that comes around it. I love that you're breaking that stigma. So, hi, my name's Christina Whitely. I'm 40 years old. I don't know how that happened, but I feel like I'm 25 inside. I have two beautiful children. One is 8 and the other one is 6 weeks old. We live in sunny Cabo, San Lucas. We are Canadian. We came from Vancouver Island. We moved here 2.5 years ago. And I got into network marketing 8 years ago now. And if I was being really truthful, I would tell you that I actually got into it a lot earlier in my years. Like when I was 21, I was introduced to it, but I didn't even know that it was network marketing until like later in my years, right? So I had no idea what network marketing actually was. But yeah, I got into it about 8 years ago because I loved being a hairstylist. I actually loved my clients. I love sharing time with them. I love being creative every day. I love being social, all those things. Like I catered my life to who I was and what I wanted. And that's not what I went to university for, by the way. But I created this life because I wanted to be able to work from home and raise my kids. But late into my first pregnancy, I was 7 months pregnant and I had a debilitating shoulder injury. I had a repetitive motion injury and I was in excruciating pain. I couldn't continue working. I was freaking out because I was self-employed and didn't have maternity leave. I was like, what the heck am I going to do? Because I need to bring in some income here and I'm about to have a baby. Now our life is going to get even more expensive and I still want to maintain the same quality of life that we had before. But what am I going to do? And there was a morning, and I'll never forget this. I woke up in the morning and it was 5 a.m. I was going to do wedding hair because I also had an on-site wedding business. So 5 a.m. I'm getting up. I puked from the moment I was pregnant, like got pregnant to the moment I gave birth. I was very sick. So I got out of the driveway and I threw up. I started driving down the road. I pulled over. I threw up. I got to that person's house. I threw up. And I just so happened to have a few minutes before I started doing hair that morning, and I was scrolling through Facebook, and lo and behold, there was a picture of a girl that I knew way back in the day. She was a house cleaner, and she was sitting at the beach with her kids making money from her phone. And she was making at the time 5 figures a month. And I was like, what have I done wrong in this life that I don't have that life? Right? Like, I want to live that life. This is not the life that I want right now, that I'm struggling to even get up and go to work. And I'm in so much pain, but I've committed to these people a year in advance. And now I don't have options. So the long and the short of it is I called that girl over. I said, tell me what you're doing. I'm willing to do anything. And a few months later, I started working in the network marketing space.
I love that. I want to touch on a few things there because I think that this is important. And I think that both of us mutually know some hairstylists that need to hear this story because I also had neck surgery, back surgery. I went to work with debilitating shoulder, hand, arm, face pain. And the problem with that is we love our clients so much. Christina, you're a giving girl as well as I am, that we won't let anything stop us from being there. There would have been nothing that day that would have stopped you from being at somebody's wedding. Whether you were vomiting in a bucket while doing the hair,
Totally.
you would have been there, right? That's what we do as hairstylists, but we also don't think about the things like there's no retirement fund, there's no time off. If your kids are sick and you're not behind that chair trading time for money, you're not making a single dollar. There's no benefits. There's nothing other than we love what we do. We're creative people and we have an outlet to be social. And that's truly how I feel about hairdressing. If you're out and you have to reschedule people, I'm at home stressing over the feeling more so than having to tell my boss that I need a day off. It's more about ruining your hair day because us ladies know how important that is. So I love that you shared that piece with the morning sickness, because I don't think we think about needing a plan B till we're in the middle of our plan A and we think we're all set. And then dang, reality slaps us across the face. And we realize too, like this baby's going to be born and I'm going to have to go back to work if I want to survive, like, right?
Yeah.
So I love that you found it on social media. So for you, you immediately went in for a business opportunity versus a product, or how did that balance out for you in the long run?
Yeah, so I initially started 3 weeks after my baby was born. I thought about it for a little while, and I thought, well, what do I have to lose? I got to lose some baby weight here. Might as well have my products paid for. And my daughter, I'll be real with you, my daughter didn't breathe for her first 5.5 minutes when she was born. And that 5.5 minutes was the longest 5.5 minutes of my life. And I still get teary when I talk about it because everything changed. I was willing to do anything to be with her. And I was like, a job means nothing. Like, I don't care about this. I want to be with her. And so everything kind of changed in that moment. And I wasn't willing to do what I was doing before and give up my evenings and weekends to not be present for her. And so 3 weeks after she was born, I started, and I made sure that I was able to work it around her life. I made sure that I was able, and I said to my husband, hey, if I can just make a couple $1,000s a month, would I be able to just go back to working part-time? And when I realized that was possible, I'm like, what if I made like $5,000 or $6,000 a month? Would I have to go back to work at all? And then a year in, I was able to bring my husband home from his bar job because he was working till 2:30 in the morning, right? He didn't have a very good quality of life, and he was getting sick all the time because he was lacking sleep, and we had this baby at home. And so a year in, I was able to bring him home, and we were both at home with my daughter. And that, honestly, from being a little girl, I wanted a present father there. I wanted a family unit, and that was my dream that I was willing to work for. And so I didn't care. I didn't care what it meant, what I had to do. I was willing to do it all just to make it happen.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much. And that's so scary. I mean, and thank God she's a beautiful, healthy girl. Imagine that you had, imagine you had to go back to work and leave her care to somebody else and she wasn't thriving. That would have been really difficult, right? And there are
wasn't an option.
Exactly. There are a lot of moms out there in that position now. And I feel for them. So you fell in love with your product. And so did you have any fear around what people would think now back 8 years ago? So I'm going to be 51 this year, so I'm a little bit older than you. And so back when I was younger, people would think network marketing, they would always say, oh, you're going to do one of those things like an Amway, like you're going to be in a pyramid. Is that what you're doing? Because I found it 27 years ago, 23 years ago. My oldest is 27. And she just unexpectedly had a baby. Like we literally got this grandson out of thin air. In February. I don't know if you know that story, but she went to the hospital at 4 a.m. thinking she needed to have her gallbladder out, and or her appendix. It was a baby. She was 10 centimeters dilated. And thank God I moved there on time, and I was able to cut the cord and like literally hand my daughter life, which was amazing.
Wow.
But she's also a hairstylist. And so the best part for me about that is she's working 3 days a week, but Nana gets to stay home now with the baby.
That's the
and I
best.
love that, right? I love that. So anyways, going forward, did you have fear? Because she's just different, right? She doesn't want it. She's not going to do network marketing. I think so. Certain people are totally cut out for it and certain people aren't. It's not that she doesn't respect it. She's just a very different person. So my question to you is, how did you feel? I mean, you're a go-getter. I'm going to do this. It's going to happen. Game on. But did you have any secret fear behind you? Because I know a lot of women are so worried what people are going to think about them if they dive down to something like this. Is, you know.
You mean that chance of being a millionaire with a very low bar to entry? Yeah. So, right. Like, I'm just going to speak truth here. And you know what? I was really lucky. So God bless my sister. She now is supportive, but at the time she's like, I don't like that you're doing this. My friends are talking about you. I'm like, well, good thing I'm not you. Right. Like, I had the confidence to say I didn't care because what I wanted was more important than what anybody else thought. And even like one of my best friends at the time, she's like, I'm never going to buy that crap from you. And I was like, I don't care. You know, and like, this is reciprocal. And you start to realize who your true friends are. I mean, it wasn't even network marketing. It was like, I worked in the bar industry for a while. And then when I stopped working at the bar, people stopped calling me on the weekends. I was a hairstylist, and then people stopped calling me because I no longer did their hair. And so like, you realize that you outgrow people over time. And although people might not realize network marketing is growth, it is personal development on steroids. And so I was really, really, really lucky to have a good friend of mine that had just gone through a separation. She was kind of like, at the time she was hitting rock bottom, and she needed something and I needed something, different reasons, but we needed it, and we needed each other. And so we partnered up and we were doing it together. So it didn't really matter what anybody else thought. We're just like, we're going to do this together. We're going to make it happen. And like, you know, you talk about how people are either made for it or not. They're either willing or they're not. And so like, that was like probably one of the best first lessons I ever learned, is that we're not here to convince anybody, right? You're either made for it or you're willing to do it or you're not. And that's totally okay. But even a couple of days ago, my daughter said, you know, I was talking about going to speak on stage, and she's like, can I come up there with you? And I said, well, what would you say? And she's like, well, I'll just hold the product for you and I'll just talk about it. Right. Because she sees me do that. Right. And so we are role models for our children. We get to show them what's possible. And now that she's gotten a taste of the good life, you know, we live in a different country. She's traveled around the world. She's like, I want that. Well, guess what? You don't get to have that if you have a job. And we've been able to kind of give her examples of those things where you're hindered in those situations, whereas this provides you freedom. So whether she goes into network marketing or she becomes an entrepreneur, we're showing her, we're being the example of what's possible in life. And that really is the biggest gift to our kids.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Having them watch. I mean, my daughter, she's in college now. She came home the other day with a book from Dr. Joe Dispenza. And I was like, are you reading this book? And she's like, yes. And she also had Atomic Habits with her. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, I'm rubbing off. Like, this is crazy, right? I couldn't probably tell her that, but she's just viewing. So they are watching us. And I love what you said about your sister and your best friend, and because that's important. And that can really be detrimental to you in the beginning. If you haven't done a lot of personal development, thank God Christina found somebody and a partner and an accountability person to run with, because that could have really taken her down. So I just caution you, if you're not in network marketing and you're listening to this, it's not going to take you 2 months or 3 months to become what Christina is. It's going to take some time. And that's building yourself up to be able to handle those kinds of disappointments, right? Because we feel disappointed when our family and our friends, we have this bright idea, right? We're not crazy. We're just first. And so it's okay.
I like that you said that. And you know, what I will say, I want this to come full circle, because what I will say is this friend of mine that said, I'm never going to buy from you, turned around and a few years later was like, you know that you're one of my wealthiest friends, right? You make more money than all of us. And I was like, yeah, I know. And she's like, I'm really sorry, right? Like, so you just kind of have to hold your tongue sometimes. And you like, I'm not here to prove anybody wrong. I'm here to inspire them. But everyone will come around eventually. Even my parents kept saying, like, when are you getting a real job? When's Ryan getting a real job? And I was like, this is a real job. And this is the best real job I could ever have.
Yeah. And I just think it's not that people, I guess sometimes people can be very skeptical and cynical. That's okay. But if you can open your mind to learn and understand and then politely decline, great, right? But if you're constantly being unpolite and saying things about something that you really don't know anything about, that's when it becomes, not fair. And I think that you really do need to take a look at something and open your mind. So I love that. And so I just said that because I'm reading the book called Worthy by Jamie Kern Lima, and she
Oh, it's
talks
so good.
about, yes, being seen and being your authentic self and not shrinking down for people. And so who do you love? I'd love to hear who you're reading right now, and who do you love the most for inspiring you?
Oh my gosh.
I know there's
So
so many. Yeah.
it's so funny because I constantly recommend books to people. That has been my university, right? I am a firm believer of pouring into yourself first before you can pour into others. So like, I really love Ed Milet's podcast. I love Lewis Howe's podcast. I'm reading stuff all the time. I actually went old school, and I'm gonna, just so that I don't mess up the name. I went old school and I started listening because I'm up in the middle of the night breastfeeding. Okay. Like, this is what we do. I listened to The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, the last 2.5 nights. Yeah. And I swear, I'm going to listen to that book like at least once a month. It's like the Greatest Salesman, right? It's like the same book that you can listen to over and over and over again and get more out of it. But when you fuel your mind with positive thinking, and you fuel your mind with education, and you're committed to growth, the money shows up, right? And the opportunities show up. And then all you have to do is say yes. Yeah. And that's what has been such a beautiful thing, is like, I'm just going to commit to being the best version of myself. The work that you do on yourself is the most important work. And so I'm going to commit to that and see what happens. And lo and behold, like, our life is unfolded, and it's no surprise to me that now we are living that beach life down here in Cabo, and we get the freedom and flexibility. Even my daughter said the other day, she's like, Mom, after Mexico, can we move to Italy? And I'm like, I don't see why not. Like, we'll talk about it then.
She's an 8-year-old dreamer. I mean, come on. And she's obviously ready to do too. She wants to get on stage with you already. That's a huge deal that you've inspired her, that far. Have you read the Mindset of a Millionaire yet? Or listen to that? I love that book. I feel like, and I love that you're doing it at night when you're breastfeeding, because I can remember being on infomercials at night, like buying every single thing that there was to buy. Get skinny. I remember doing that when my kids were little. I'm like 3 a.m, buying exercise videos and bands and you name it. So I love that.
There's definitely been Amazon orders. Okay. There's definitely been late night Amazon orders.
Does that work in Mexico? No problem. Yeah. It's right on the doorstep.
Yeah. And they know me by name now, right? They call me and they know me by name. If they see me out, they wave walking down this. It's hilarious.
That's awesome. How has the transition been for you and your family? I mean, so you were able to take your network marketing business to Mexico, and then so you can get into that a little bit too, because you're in the coaching space as well. So how has that transition been overall, moving to another country while keeping your businesses intact?
Challenging. It's been challenging because it separated me from my local team. It separated me in the middle of COVID. It separated me in my way of thinking. And it was really quite challenging because I was going through massive growth at the time. I'm a completely different person now than I was 2 years ago and even a year ago. So it was hard because there's people in your life that you've known for 15 years, 10 years, 5 years, and they expect you to stay the same, but you don't. And so you tend to outgrow people. And the other thing is that in the process, I outgrew my company, and it was no fault of theirs. It was no fault of theirs, but I waited and waited. They said they were going to come into Mexico in 12 to 18 months. 2 years later, they weren't there. And I got into this industry much like you, to truly help people, right? To really, truly help people and give them a solution to what they're going through. And right now, people need a heck of a lot of help. And there's a lot of people, expats, immigrants, locals down here that need extra money right now. And I couldn't help them with my opportunity. And I ended up referring people out to other companies to believe it or not, I ended up saying, hey, I know a leader here or a leader here. And if this is what you're looking for, I'm going to connect you because I can't help you. And really that comes down to doing what's best for the person that you're speaking to, as opposed to doing what's best for you and your paycheck. And the faster you learn that in leadership, the better you're going to do. So it was hard because I made a transition a few months ago, not even like 2.5 months ago, right before I had the baby, to a company that was available here. And that speaks to the industry and how sometimes you have to evolve and sometimes you have to do what's best for you, and that it can be really difficult to make decisions for you when you've got a team. but you
Yeah.
have to continue to make decisions for you. And, I was able to leave that team and say, hey, look, you're in great hands. You've got great leadership. I don't feel an ounce guilty. And then go over here and build a brand new team with other people.
Yeah, I really admire you for that. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that because I think right now in the network marketing space in general, there's a lot of things happening. People are just kind of coming and going, and they're grabbing onto their best friend's tailcoats, and they're going, okay, if you're going, I'm going. I just really love that you made your decision with integrity, and you did it for your family, not because of something shiny on the side that you were like, ooh, something new. Because I think that no matter what happens, it's the same type of work everywhere you go, right? You can choose who you do it with. I guess that's a perk, but it's still work on your part. So I'm just seeing so much shakeup right now in our industry. And I think it's good. I think it's good to shake things up every once in a while. But I also just wanted to tell you that I really appreciate the integrity and the decision you made, right? Because you are there now. And because I remember talking to you a few months ago and just saying, I really want to come down there, and just my heart is always in Cabo, and I want to help. Like, can I please, how can I talk to them about my opportunity and my business? Because I see that they could use it. They're such hard workers and amazing people, right? So I do love and admire that you did that. Where do you see the world of network marketing going in the next couple of years? I've read somewhere recently, I think it's 45% of people now do have a side gig, but I heard years ago that 80% of people will have a side gig by 2025 or some number. I don't even remember, but where do you see it going?
That's a really great question. And it kind of ties into what you were just saying about, the shiny penny, the new thing, what's next. And I really, truly believe in making decisions based on your core beliefs and values, right? I always say to people, and by the way, first of all, I understand the economy. I understand debt cycles. I understand where we're at. Okay.
Yeah,
so I understand that people need to do what's best for their family. And if they see their paycheck going down, or they feel like there's another opportunity, or they can add an income if they're allowed to do so with their company, then I get that, because we all need to put food on the table, and we all need to do what's right for our family. So let me just preface it by saying that. Okay. But the grass is greener where you water it. Yeah, good.
With you there, by the way. I don't know if I said all that, but
we're on the same page. And you know what? True leadership, they believe the same thing, right? And the grass is greener where you water it. However, right, in this day and age, I see a lot of amateurs out there. And let me define this, because I think it's really important. Amateurs sell stuff to people. They're constantly chasing the dollar and what's next, what's new, how can they make the most money right now? And when they do that, they're giving up on big, sustainable, long-term income. Okay. Professionals, they know the audience that they serve. They take time and care and energy to build relationships through community, through giving value to people, so that they become somebody that is trustworthy. And then they find products or services that serve those people's basic need, which sometimes shifts and changes, right? There's sometimes, unintended consequences, like moving from Canada to Mexico. I now have a completely different audience of people that want to do the same thing. So I've got to provide them with something that is going to help them. I can't stay stuck in one place because I am comfortable, right? I have to be committed to that growth too. And sometimes those decisions are very difficult. But when we look at the network marketing space as a whole, I think there's a lot of things that's happened over the last couple of years. Obviously, COVID changed everything, made people realize they could work from home. There was also a huge boost in technology and jobs online, and people's jobs transitioned into being at home. And so all of a sudden, employers realized, okay, well, there's a lot more opportunity here. We could save on office space, all these things evolved, right? Well, there's also a lot more competition, right? You think about digital marketing, digital assets that you can sell, printable assets. You think about affiliate marketing. You think about people that have Amazon stores and Etsy stores and all this stuff, right? People that are in the coaching space that are selling masterminds and coaching programs and all of these things of their area of expertise. So there's all this other competition. Now, I think that there's room for network marketing. And I love this, because even with affiliate marketing, you're not going to leverage your time. You're still going after sales. Okay. You're still trading dollars for hours. So I really, truly believe in leadership, in helping people and mentoring them to build business. I think that you deserve to be paid more as a leader. And so I believe in this whole network marketing system. Right. And residual income. By the way, you can't beat residual income. And I believe in multiple streams of income. However, when people act out of integrity, and you see all of this crazy that goes on in the industry and cross recruiting and people being lied to or manipulated to go to certain opportunities, and it gets ugly, right?
Yeah.
And so that piece of it, is really challenging. And I don't know a way around that other than you acting and being an example of what you want to see in the world, you acting with integrity, you building business, you leaving. When I left my last company, I had leaders, like big leaders from all over, reach out to me and say, wow, you could write a course on how to leave network marketing with grace and integrity. More people should act like you and be like you and lead like you. And that was, what one of the most beautiful compliments I could ever receive. And so I think that in that space, if you can operate with integrity and continue to build, even if you're creating other streams of income, even if you're doing other things, that there's a lot of room for that. And it even is superior to what you're doing, because a lot of people, they create an income, they create some sort of leadership in network marketing, and they go on to coach. And whether they coach in a coaching space, whether they coach in network marketing or whatever they decide to coach on, they do it because they want to raise the bar. Maybe they want to make more money, whatever it is, but they don't realize in the process that it's a lot more work, a lot more effort, that you've got to develop all those things. You've got to have the money backing you. If I didn't have network marketing backing me, there's no way I could pay to develop business this way. There's no way that I could put money into my business like this and continue with the same quality of life and continue to travel and have freedom of my schedule and all that kind of stuff. So I still am a massive believer and advocate of this industry, because I know what it's given to me and I know what it can give to others. Because you can't just go out and build a brand and build these funnels and websites. And all. Where are you going to come up with that money if you're a stay-at-home mom?
Yeah, right.
You got to start somewhere. We build from the ground up. We build the foundation brick by brick.
Yeah, and I love that. And most of the foundation is building ourselves, like we talked about before.
100%.
That was awesome. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. That's such a good way to look at things. As far as you now, you've got 2 kids at home and you're living in another country. How are you finding time to manage your businesses? Has it been a challenge, or like, tell the mama who's at home with like 6 kids, they want so much more for life, but they always say, I just don't have time. I just don't have time.
You have time for things that are important to you. And if you realized what was in front of you, you would make the time. And so, like, my mother-in-law was just visiting. My mom was here for a month. My mother-in-law was just visiting. Because we live in Mexico, we can afford to have a nanny. So we do have help. Okay. But my mother-in-law is visiting, and she comes in, and I've got my computer in front of me because I love it. I love it. I got my computer sitting in front of me. I'm trying to write a chapter of a book, right? While I'm breastfeeding, while I've got my phone dinging and I've got people asking me questions about my new business, right? Yeah. So I'm just sitting there and I was like, I just want you to remember this moment, because this is what it takes to build. But my motivation to have the quality of life that I want, to be able to travel the world with my family, that gets me excited and out of bed every morning. You can't stop me from doing this because of my belief. And if you don't have the belief that you can do it, lean on other people like Lori, lean on other people like myself that you see is out there with a newborn building this. And those are the people that inspire me. I don't listen to the people that have all the excuses in the world, that they don't have time, they don't have energy. Like, none of us do. None of us do. We make the time for things that are important, and we spend time with people that inspire us, that are doing more, and we learn from them.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so true. I've shifted myself so much in the last few years, and it's just automatically happening. Drama is 0 in my life. Excuses don't exist. Like, and you're like my soul sister. I want to tell you, even my own family will look at me and go, gosh, you just are always working. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm not always working, first of all, but second of all, I love what I'm doing so much. I don't feel that way about it. I'm sorry you do, but I'm really having a great time over here, Anyway, that's just how those families get.
That's common. And like, that's so common, Lori, like that. We are soul sisters, because I get the same thing. You don't need to work so much. You can take time off. I'm like, I love what I do. I love the people I work with. I love showing up like this. Like, even, with this new business, my husband said to me, I haven't seen you this happy and excited in a couple of years. And I'm like, 9 months pregnant. I'm like comfortable. I'm like, this is crazy. Right now I've got a baby, but like,
Yeah.
this is how I thrive. We're a different breed, Lori.
Yes.
And those people we're
Yes.
speaking to, but it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you can't learn to be this way. It doesn't mean that you can't
Exactly.
step up to the bar and hone your skills and get
Yeah.
around people like us that'll increase your energy and will say, wow, look at them. I can do it too. And if you've
Yeah.
got more friends like that than people that are trying to distract you or people that are keeping you small because it's
Yeah.
comfortable for them, then,
Yep.
you determine who you spend your time with.
They say you're like the 5 people that are most in your circle, right? And so I think that that's what happens. And I love that you talked about that earlier with the seasons, like as far as being when you were a hairdresser, you were in the vicinity of those people, and when you were doing this, you were with those people. And this, people do change, people do grow, people do move, right? And I've met so many of my best friends in this industry. It's just the way it is. Like we're so like-minded. If you could give one piece of advice to somebody at home right now, kind of thinking about it, and just really, let's throw their husband in. Maybe their husband's a little bit skeptical. What would you tell her? What would you say to her?
My husband was a little bit skeptical because his parents had been involved in this type of thing, is how it came.
Yeah,
This type of thing, and they didn't find the success that I have, although they did have fun.
yeah,
And so what I would do is I would get rid of your ego. Like, I check that at the door. I get rid of your expectations and your judgments and your fear of what you think everybody else is going to say. And
yeah,
I just go all in. Find
yeah,
somebody that you admire, link arms with them, listen, be coachable, give it everything you got for a year. Everything you got for a year. Show up to the trainings, deep dive into all the books they recommend, do the work, come up with a schedule every single day that you do the thing that makes the most difference in your business, right? You do the activities that actually get you paid.
yeah.
When you do that, you will absolutely change your life in a year. You will be unrecognizable a year later.
I'm excited. I love that. Eat the frog.
Eat the
Let
frog.
me ask you, what am I going to see in the next, say, 1 to 3 years with Christina Whitely? What's going to be happening? Share some exciting things that are
Oh,
that you want to
man.
leave us with. Share something you want to leave us with, so that I'm hoping that I can have you back another time.
I would love
I
that.
can't to hear, but share some things that you want to leave this podcast, leave on the table, let people know about you, or how you're feeling, or an accomplishment, or just something that you're super, super excited about.
Well, this year I set out to create another 6-figure income to show other moms like me that you don't have to suffer. You don't have to live a life that you're not happy with. You can go out and change it. So with my 2 kids, baby on the boob, I'm going to go create another 6-figure stream of income. I was really lucky to be honored and nominated and honored with the Business Freedom Award from the International Association of Top Professionals this year. I am so excited to work with entrepreneurs. I love launching small businesses. I love launching online businesses and brands in 90 days. And then I also help them create 6-figure incomes once they have proof of concept and 6 figures and beyond. And it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what, like I work with electricians, with actresses, with people that do network marketing, that people that are creating subscription boxes, or they have a product to sell, right? I love getting in the trenches with people and teaching them
Yeah.
business, and then seeing their lives change and seeing them work in purpose. So I'm going to continue down that path. I'm going to continue in the network marketing space. I'm going to continue in the coaching and entrepreneur space, because it really, truly lights my soul on fire. And I can't wait, to be one of those people that's speaking on the 10X stage. I can't wait to be one of those people that is making a global impact with what I do, because I know what is possible. And I know how things are changing with technology, that we all have this opportunity. Doesn't matter who you are, you're good at something. You have a gift. You can learn how to monetize that gift and work in your zone of genius every single day, so that you never have to feel like you're at work.
Yeah. Oh, that's congratulations on that too. That's amazing.
Thank
Hello.
you.
Have we celebrated? I hope so. I'm sure you have, but I'm going to celebrate you now. That's amazing, Christina. Thank you so much for being here. You're so inspirational. You're so beautiful. You're such a kind, genuine soul. And I feel like you're my soul sister, like everything you just said. I'm like, let's go, girl, let's go. So thank you again. And hopefully we can have you back and hear all these things, how they unfolded for you over this year. Do you plan on staying in Cabo? Yes? Or
Yeah, we're building a house, so we're going to be here for the next few years, and then we'll decide. I don't think that this is our forever home, although we do love it to stay in vacation. I love my daughter's school here.
Yep.
So we'll either bounce back and forth to Canada and here, or maybe we'll end up in Italy. Who knows?
That's amazing. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much. I love you. I love talking with you. We'll talk again soon.
Appreciate you.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you again next week with this episode of Her Story Beyond the Sale. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Her Story Beyond the Sale. I'm Lori Hart, and it has been a pleasure bringing you the stories that light the way in network marketing. Remember, this journey is about breaking free from the glass ceiling, creating time, embracing financial independence, and building a life that resonates with your dreams. Do not let fear hold you back. Your story is waiting to be written. Until next time, keep rising, keep inspiring, and keep creating your story in the world.